Hey guys, tonight we drift through a half-lit cryo station, spinning slowly on the dark side of Saturn. You're not supposed to be awake. No one is. But something woke you. A light, a sound, or maybe it was a voice. The room is cold. Your breath fogs, but the tea on the table steams like it's waiting. You probably won't survive this with your socks still on, because one of them is already trying to escape through the air duct, and the other, it's holding your coffee hostage. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I love knowing where you're tuning in from. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You wake to silence and then to the soft whir of your breath echoing too loud in your ears. The cryo chamber lights are flickering again, but that's not unusual. What is unusual is being awake. There's still half a year left on your sleep schedule. You checked twice. The date flickers stubbornly on the wall, Sol 982. You exhale, watch the fog curl up and vanish like it's late for something. You've never seen your own breath in here before. The tea beside the bunk is hot. You did not make tea. The AI doesn't say anything for a long time. When it finally speaks, it's with that old lady British librarian voice someone thought was calming. User emergence triggered by anomalous signal. Cryo interrupted. Signal origin. Asteroid 113 Theta. Sector designation. Belt fracture east. You blink the sleep out of your eyes and try not to curse at the AI. You succeed barely. Why wasn't I notified? Notification queue is offline. External channels have been severed. Cryo breach was automatic. Apologies. Tea. You look down at the cup. There's a suspicious ring of honey at the bottom. Lavender steam curls toward your nose like a gentle insult. You sip it anyway. The station hums like a sleepy animal. Outside Saturn is a brooding amber eye peering through the reinforced viewport. It never blinks. The silence out here is thick, stitched together by the low static hum of failing insulation. You've always liked that sound. It reminds you of when you were a kid falling asleep with the fan on, pretending you were drifting through space. Well, mission accomplished. You wrap a blanket around yourself like a guilty ghost and stagger to the central console. The screen flickers with the jittery heart of a dying disco ball. You tap twice. The anomaly comes into focus. It's a mining asteroid, or it was, M31, registered 30 years ago, long since abandoned. No known crew, no life support. A small rig built for hollowing out mineral cores left behind when funding dried up and someone somewhere decided robots were cheaper than salaries. The ping it's sending is weak, repetitive, old-style Morse, 3 dots, 1 dash, 2 dots. You don't know Morse by heart, but the AI translates it like it's doing a crossword. To HEMRE. You frown. The transmission lacks complete syntax. Estimated loop error due to signal interference. The AI sounds smug, like it just aced an essay on why you should go back to bed. You ignore it. There's something about that flicker, the cadence of it, like a blinking eye or a very slow heartbeat. You lean forward. The signal stutters once, then pulses in perfect time with your own breath. And that's when it happens, the room shifts. Not a quake, not pressure, not gravity. Just a lurching feeling like a carousel you didn't realize was moving. For 1 second, the room is not your room. The console is old wooden. There's paper on the desk. There's a mug with a chip in the rim full of something bitter. Then it's gone. You blink. The console is metal again. The paper's gone, but you still smell something earthy. You mutter, "Maybe I'm still dreaming." The AI chirps helpfully. Lucid state detected. Neural patterns inconsistent with standard emergence. Recommend grounding protocol touch. Metal breathe deeply. Recall childhood. You grunt. I recall never liking metal walls, thanks. The AI plays a single harp glissando and then shuts up. You sit in silence, staring at the flickering dot on the screen. The asteroid is tiny, maybe the size of a city block. Too small for crew quarters, too small for anything. And yet, you feel it watching you or listening. You look down at your tea. It's cold now. You look up at the viewport. Something flickers across Saturn's rings like a spider skating under ice. You don't believe in ghosts. You believe in physics and contracts and the slow bureaucratic death of interplanetary ambition. But something woke you, and it wasn't tea. You were never very good at following the rules, especially the ones written in capital letters. Emergency protocols must be observed at all times. Flashes on the console like a disapproving parent. You blow it a kiss. The AI predictably sighs. Docking override requires senior authorization. You stretch your neck, crack your knuckles, and begin humming a little funeral march while digging through the old access logs. Somewhere in this clutter of expired credentials and forgotten lunch reminders is a back door. You know because you built it, not for malicious reasons, mostly out of boredom. Also because you once lost a game of poker with a sarcastic maintenance bot named Stipple and needed to sneak into command to steal snacks. And there it is. Node 44B, maintenance override retired. You click it. The screen flickers like it wants to argue, but your login slides in like buttered guilt. Authorization accepted. Airlock unlocked. This decision has been logged as ill-advised. You grab your helmet, adjust the straps, and glance at the tea one last time. Cold again? It's doing that too fast. The suit is stiff from disuse, smelling faintly of old socks and regret. You climb in, sealing the clamps, and mutter, probably just a glitchy transponder or an overenthusiastic rock. But you don't believe it. The tram takes 8 minutes to reach the hangar bay. You spend them trying not to stare at the viewport. The asteroid is faint in the distance, a lump of something wrong-colored and awkwardly shaped like a child's drawing of an island if the child had recently seen a horror movie. The hangar bay creaks when the docking clamps retract. It always does that. Hasn't passed inspection in 2 years. You're not worried. You fixed this thing in your sleep. The shuttle shivers awake with a kind of sleepy menace. You call her Gertrude because if you're going to fly toward a mysterious signal that got you cryo-ejected 6 months early, you might as well be writing something that sounds like it owns a knitting shop and disapproves of your lifestyle. As you slip past the outer ring of Saturn's shadow, light spills across the shuttle's interior in long, lazy stripes. The asteroid drifts slowly closer, pulsing on your radar like a stubborn splinter. You whisper, "If I get eaten by a space rock, I want someone to tell my toothbrush I always meant to change its head." The AI in your suit doesn't laugh, but it does run diagnostics at a slightly warmer temperature, which you decide to interpret as affection. Docking with the asteroid takes finesse. You engage thrusters so gently it feels like you're rocking a baby, except this baby is covered in jagged mineral teeth and possibly cursed. The old mining rig is still attached, half swallowed by the asteroid's crust. It looks melted in places like the rock tried to digest it and gave up halfway through. The beacon is buried in the central hull. You can hear its faint ping, now not through instruments, but through your bones, the way deep bass used to travel through the walls of cheap apartment parties. As you step out, your boots land with a strangely wet thunk. You frown. The asteroid shouldn't feel soft. The rig's outer hull peels back like a scab under pressure. You crouch duck through the opening, and the smell hits you. Not death, not ozone, but green, damp, like moss and cedar. Something you haven't smelled since Earth, since you pause. Where did that memory come from? Inside the rig is dark, not just dark hungry. Your helmet lights stab forward, cutting through a dense fog. The fog shouldn't be here either. No atmosphere. You whisper, "Okay, Gertrude. If anything moves, scream." She beeps once, comforting. The beacon pulses ahead, but now you see what it's wrapped in. It looks like a jellyfish if jellyfish came in sizes labeled deeply upsetting. Translucent tendrils stretch across the walls, glowing faintly with bioluminescent splotches that look suspiciously like veins. It's breathing and blinking, and somehow it's blinking in Morse code. You don't want to approach, but you do. The moment your gloved hand nears the beacon, one tendril lifts, not threatening, just curious. It curls toward your faceplate and taps 3 times, then twice. Your HUD scrambles, throwing warnings, then clears. The signal is sharper now. It says, "We see." You back up, heart thudding, not because of fear, because something about that phrase hits you in a place memory can't explain. You've heard it before. Your comm hisses with static. "Then we see you," a voice says. Not your voice, not the AI's, not human, but it sounds like your mother. The voice fades, not like sound trailing off, but like a thought retreating down a corridor in your head, slamming the door before you can follow. You stand there too long. Inside your helmet, your breath has fogged the glass. It smears your reflection just enough to make you look like someone else, or not quite like anyone. You swipe the visor clear with the back of your glove. The organism, because you're calling it that now. You have to. It's better than the glowing jelly mass with feelings doesn't move. But it feels like it's watching. You can't prove it, but you'd bet your socks on it. Well, the one you still have. The other is currently plotting its solo escape through Air Duct 7. Your hood flashes a warning. Ambient radiation spike. You squint at the readout. It's faint, rhythmic. A heartbeat. No more like. A metronome. Deliberate. You tap your comm. "Gertrude, can you confirm local radiation pattern?" The shuttle answers with a crackle, followed by her best impression of a dial-up modem, and then no anomalies. Local field consistent with decaying rig power output. Probably. You stare at the organism again. Probably you repeat under your breath with the same enthusiasm as someone being handed a parachute and told it's mostly functional. It pulses again, this time in blue. You blink. Did it change color? The AI helpfully supplies bioluminescence, is frequently adaptive in terrestrial cephalopods, also in nightclub fish. This may be a flirtation display. You scoff. Great. I'm being courted by a space jelly. You move closer, not because it's wise, but because it's there. And something in you is tugging the way hunger tugs when the bread smells too warm and the butter's already soft. The tentacle closest to the beacon lifts and dips like a conductor, cueing a soft crescendo. And then you hear something, not in your ears, in your teeth. A low, harmonic vibration threading through your jaws, resonating down your spine. A sound made of pressure and suggestion. Not quite a voice, not quite a song. You freeze. The world flickers again. For a second, the mining rig is gone. You're standing in a forest. Moss climbs the sides of giant trees. The air is cool and wet, the kind that sinks into your lungs like it belongs there. Something glints through the branches, metal, old and bent. You kneel. Your fingers touch a small rusted plaque. Site M31. Terraforming initiative. Abandoned. You blink, and you're back in the rig. You've dropped to one knee, breathing heavy. The organism is close now, tendrils wavering in the air like anemones in slow water. I didn't imagine that, you whisper. I was somewhere else. The AI says nothing. Possibly offended you stopped talking to her. You steady yourself and reach toward the beacon. The closest tendril brushes your wrist. You don't feel contact. You feel emotion, curiosity, then sorrow, then something like homesickness, but old, worn thin from repetition, and then panic. Yours. The rig shifts. A low creak stirs beneath your boots. The floor is softening, not melting, growing. The metal seams fill with wet black moss. It pulses once, then twice. Time to go, you mutter. You turn only to find the hatch you entered through has closed. Not sealed exactly, just overgrown. You tap your helmet. Gertrude prep for emergency evac. Rig is becoming biologically non-compliant. She doesn't answer. The hood blinks, signal blocked. The organism pulses yellow now, rapidly. Morse again. This time faster. Urgent. THEMARE. You whisper them R, then the last pulse. WAKE. And then a loud wet crack as a chunk of the wall sloughs off and something slithers out. It's not the organism, not part of it. You can tell immediately. This is something different. Black, dry, angular, no glow, no grace. It twitches, then scuttles back into the dark. You do not scream, but you do back up very, very slowly. The jelly thing pulses red now. Morse has devolved into chaos. You catch a few fragments. NOTME, DANGER, FRACTURE. The rig groans again. A tremor shudders through the floor. Something's tearing itself loose beneath you. You look up. The beacon's light sputters out. The organism goes still, and all around you the rig begins to whisper in a voice that sounds like metal, forgetting what it was supposed to be. The rig is whispering, not in the dramatic, haunted ship sense, not chains clanking or voices from the void. It's more like the sound insulation makes when it sags behind walls, like rust breathing. But it's saying something, over and over, too fast to parse. Your boots are wet now. The moss is spreading, climbing. You glance back at the jelly thing still pulsing, still glowing faint red, but it's not moving anymore. It looks afraid, and maybe that's the worst part, that something like that can feel fear. You slap your helmet twice. Gertrude, if you're listening, I need a pinpoint tether and an evac path mapped to Dock 3. Open the airlock in 20 seconds. No reply, just a long, slow beep that sounds almost apologetic. The wall to your left warps, not caves in, not cracks, warps, like reality is stretching too thin over something trying to come through. You turn to run, and something watches you go. You can't see it, but you feel it. That slide of attention, heavy and invasive the way you feel in an elevator with someone who stands too close and breathes too loud. Your foot hits soft metal and you stumble. It takes you a beat too long to realize what you tripped on. A boot. Not yours. It's attached to a leg and a torso. A suit like yours, minus the oxygen tether. The name patch says Halverson. You knew a Halverson once. She had a laugh like popping bubble wrap and a PhD in electromagnetic field languages. You lift the visor. It's empty. No skull. Just dirt. No, not dirt. Soil. With sprouts. Tiny green shoots waving slightly in your helmet's airflow. You stagger back horrified and crash into the wall. The jelly thing flares orange then blue. Morse again faster now, almost frantic. MEMORYNOTDEADSEE. The rig hums louder. A seam above you splits open, and through it oozes something like tar and shattered glass, angular, twitching wrong. It doesn't come toward you. It just sits there, watching. You feel it watch. You back into the corridor and slam a hand against the manual override. Tether response confirmed. Gertrude purrs 10 seconds too late. Please refrain from acts of personal heroism. They rarely end well. The wall peels again. A faint, wet hissing. You bolt. As you sprint through the rig's collapsing corridor, the structure shifts, not violently, slowly, like it's tired, like it's exhaling for the last time. The moss follows you. You slide through the closing hatch just as the doorway starts curling in edges crusted with pale lichen. You slap the emergency seal. Behind you, the jelly thing pulses one last time. You don't look back. Back aboard Gertrude, the shuttle seals with a faint hiss and a petulant squeal from a pressure valve that always pretends it's dying. You tear off your helmet and gulp air like it's made of cake. You're shaking. You do not cry. The calm chirps. Vitals unstable. Would you like calming music or sarcastic encouragement? You wheeze dealer's choice. Soft jazz begins to play. A saxophone sighs like it's just given up on ever being understood. You stagger to the pilot seat. Scan the rig. Give me a full spectral analysis, long-form data, and look for survivors. The pause is almost tactful. No other biosigns, except you freeze. There's something. It's not alive in a cellular way, but it's active, Like a field, show me. The display renders a crude model, the asteroid now glowing slightly in the near infrared spectrum and a thin, fibrous lattice extending outward from its core. Not roots, not exactly, but close. You tap the console. This wasn't in the original specs. Confirmed. This structure wasn't there during the last logged survey. Estimated growth rate biologically impossible. Unless it's not biology, you whisper. The AI pauses again. Say more. You exhale. It's transmitting. In Latin, a soft beep. Translation underway. Message incomplete. Early rendering suggests we are not what you think. We were awake when your sky was still molten. Your tea mug tips off the console and shatters. Except you never brought it aboard. You stare at the pieces. They're steaming. One shard has words etched on it. Fracture point. You don't remember ever owning a mug like that. You look out the viewport. The asteroid pulses once faint and deliberate, and you hear it again, not in your ears, in your thoughts. 3 dots, 1 dash, 2 dots. THEM. You whisper, they're not just alive, they're remembering. Back in orbit you float, not poetically, not like a leaf on the wind, more like a sock in a dryer full of anvils, bouncing lightly from one console wall to the next, while trying not to tangle in the tether cable you forgot to retract. You could correct for it, but you're mid-thought, and thinking takes priority over grace. The shuttle's AI pipes up helpfully. Would you like assistance reorienting? I would like a burrito and 3 fewer existential questions, but here we are, you mutter. You finally anchor yourself and let out a long breath. The asteroid sits in the viewport quiet and small, just a rock with ideas above its station, just a rock that sent you a feeling, because that's what it was, back in the rig. You didn't hear a voice, you didn't see a symbol, you felt it, how it felt. You felt it blink, and then came the memory. It wasn't yours, but it slid into place like a long-lost key. You were small, maybe 10. Dirt under your fingernails, a popsicle melting down your arm. The dog in front of you had an underbite so heroic it bent sunlight. You reached for its ears, and it licked your knee. Except you've never owned a dog. You don't even like popsicles. You sit back and rub your temples. The memory felt deliberate, like it was sent, shared, offered, diplomacy maybe, or invasion. The AI speaks again. Preliminary data suggests the organism in the rig may possess neural mimetic properties. Explain. Emotive communication, memory transference, neural echo compatibility. In simpler terms, jellyfish therapy with bonus telepathy. You look out at the asteroid, so I felt what it felt, or what it wanted you to feel. You don't say anything for a long while. Eventually you whisper, I think I want to talk to it. The AI doesn't sigh, but she wants to. You return to the station cautious and slow and find the docking bay humming like it's nervous. The lights flicker, but you're used to that. What's new is the way the floor seems a little too warm, not hot, just recently occupied. You take off your helmet. The air smells like cinnamon and engine grease, comforting in a way you didn't realize you missed. As you step into the decontamination chamber, your suit shimmers. Just a flicker, a glitch maybe. Then it happens. Your vision doubles. For a split second, the hallway is gone. You're standing in a room full of people, no suits, no station, just soft chairs, long tables, steam rising from mugs. Someone across the table smiles at you, warm and familiar, and then you're back. You stagger. Your socked foot finds purchase against cold metal, and the vision retreats like a tide. You whisper, "Okay, that's new." The AI doesn't respond immediately. When she does, her voice is low. "Did you just interface? I didn't touch anything. Not physically, but cognitively. Oh, we have neural echoes logged. External interference. You exhale. It's still in my head. It never left." You head to the central console, bypassing the standard biometric check with a dirty trick involving a gum wrapper and a capacitor. You still haven't admitted you stole from the break room coffee warmer. The beacon signal is offline, but the rig, it's humming. More than that, it's speaking. Latin again. But now the pulses are structured. Sentences, patterns. The AI begins a real-time translation. Not alone, not lost, not forgotten. We blinked first. You followed. You frown. It's talking to me. More than that, the AI says. It's responding to you. Your hands shake as you tap out a reply. Basic binary, crude, but effective. "Geez, what are you?" There's a pause. Then the rig responds. "We are fracture memory. We are the echo of first mind." You are warm. You stare. That's not ominous at all. The AI chirps softly. Suggest escalation to diplomatic protocol or running. Possibly both. You type again. "Why show me memories?" This time the pause is longer. Because you asked. Because you are open. Because you forgot. You stare at the words. They feel like deja vu wrapped in a dare. "What did I forget?" you whisper. There's no reply, just a faint blue pulse, and then another vision. You're on Earth, but it's not your Earth. The sky is lavender. The trees are too tall. Someone is laughing. You reach toward them, and your hand touches glass. And just like that, you're back in the station, fingers pressed against the console screen palm, slick with sweat. The AI finally speaks. "That wasn't just memory. That was conversation." You nod slowly. "I think we're not just talking to it anymore." "What then?" "We're talking with it." Sleep doesn't come easy after your first psychic conversation with a sentient space jelly. You try. You really do. You do the whole routine: warm shower, dimmed lights, the station's soft ambient soundtrack set to Rain on Mars' tin roof. You even dig out the emergency chocolate bar you've been saving since Sol 400s, the one that technically expired before your last cryo rotation. You chew it slowly. It tastes like regret and candle wax, comforting in its own nostalgic way. But your mind won't quiet. The rig, the jelly, the voice that sounded like your mother, and the memory, the one with the dog. You lie in bed, staring at the ceiling vent where your left sock made its great escape. "Come back," you whisper, because talking to socks now seems no less absurd than anything else you've done lately. You fall asleep eventually, but not into your own dreams. This time, you're walking through a field, not grass, something finer, like powdered jade. The sky is dim orange, the sun distant and quiet, as if being careful not to wake anyone. You feel your breath, but not in your lungs, in the air itself, like the world is breathing with you. There's a house, stone crooked, old in a way that suggests patience, not decay. You approach the door. Inside, it's warm, familiar, There's something cooking stew, maybe, or memory itself. A fire crackles in a hearth made from broken sensor panels and curved bone. You're not afraid until you see the figure sitting at the table. She looks like you, but older, weathered, not by time, by knowing. You don't speak. She doesn't either. Instead, she slides a small box across the table. You don't open it. You already know what's inside, and you feel the ache of that knowing before you wake. The station lights flicker as you sit up drenched in sweat. The AI's voice is unusually gentle. Sleep disturbance logged. Dream activity outside normal cognitive pattern. You laugh dryly. You think. You swing your legs over the bunk and immediately freeze. There's dirt on the floor, just a smear. Near your heel, green tinted, smelling faintly of ozone and moss. You didn't bring it in. You don't want to check the rest of the room, but you do. The air recycler is whirring. The mug on your table, the mug is back. The one from the shuttle, the one you don't own. This time it's full. Steam curls up from the surface of the tea. You touch it, it's warm, and the base of the mug reads, "Stay curious." You whisper, "Okay, you're inside. That's clear now." The AI, to her credit, waits a full beat before responding. The entity appears to have established low-grade neural resonance. No malicious code detected. You run your hand through your hair. It's not code. It's memory, wrapped in emotion, embedded like a dream you didn't mean to have. The AI chirps. "Would you like to log a formal visitation report?" You stare at the tea. "No, but I want to send it something." "Specify transmission medium." "Me." A pause. "Biological interface protocols are, I know, just monitor. I'll keep it short." You sit cross-legged on the floor, close your eyes, and slow your breath. The hum of the station fades. The air grows heavier, and then the now familiar lurch. You're not alone. You feel it before you see it, a presence cautious, hopeful, like a cat waiting to see if the hand reaching out is offering food or punishment. You think softly, "What do you want from me?" There's no answer, just a memory, a sibling, not yours. She's sitting on a swing set, legs too short to touch the ground. The wind smells like crushed leaves and stars. She turns to you, not the current you, but the dream you, and says, "Don't forget." You wake with a jolt. The console is blinking. The rig is transmitting again. Same cadence, same glow, but this time, the message is clear. Old Earth, new feelings. The fracture opens. You stare at the text. Your hands are shaking because deep in your bones, you know this isn't just an encounter. It's an invitation. Saturn spins slow and smug outside the viewport, like it knows things it won't share until you earn them. Its rings shimmer in silence, distant traffic lanes of ice and debris where nothing goes as fast as the thoughts tumbling in your head. You're still on the station, but only barely. Physically, you're here. Mentally, you're stretched out, like taffy between timelines and tea mugs and echoes of dogs that never existed. Emotionally, you're somewhere between mildly alarmed and 5 steps past crisis casual. And then the flare hits. It starts with a light shift, a subtle bloom in the shadows. Then your skin prickles as magnetic tension spikes. You know this feeling. Coronal event. Saturn's temper tantrums. You lurch forward and slap the console. AI status, Her voice is cheerful, too cheerful. Coronal flare impact detected. Station systems entering defensive spin. You may experience a sensation of graceful pirouetting or nausea. The station tilts, gently at first, like a child on a merry-go-round, unsure if it should be scared or thrilled. Then faster, loose items drift. The tea mug floats by, steaming innocently. You reach for the wall tether and miss. Then again, you finally snag it, anchoring yourself as the hum in the walls rises to a low throb. Stabilizers, you shout. Compensating, the AI says, then adds, with mild disapproval. The lights flicker, then dim. A red glow floods the corridor. Not emergency red, this red is warmer, softer, like firelight, like memory. Then the music starts. Jazz. Not the AI's usual muzak light. This is real. Slow trumpet, brushed snares, the kind of song you slow dance to in a kitchen with someone you don't mind waking up next to. You float sideways, baffled. Seriously, romantic jazz may reduce physiological stress. The AI offers far too proud of herself. Also, you seem lonely. I'm not lonely, you snap, then soften. I'm just conversationally challenged. The station rotates again slowly now, like it's dancing with the flare. And the dreams return. Not full visions this time, just fragments stitched together like a quilt with threads too delicate to see. A hand in yours, a smell like rain on copper, laughter that tugs at the back of your mind like it used to belong to you. You feel it stir the other, the entity. It doesn't speak. It watches and waits. You open your mouth. Why me? No answer. But the temperature spikes again. The sensors scream briefly, then go silent. Steam rises from the tea mug floating past your head. You mutter, that's not normal. Define normal, the AI says. You don't bother. Instead, you grab a nearby panel and override the spin manually. The station resists, like it's being told to stop singing in the shower, but it slows. The red glow fades. The jazz winds down. Still floating, you tap into the external cams. The asteroid looms closer, too close. It hasn't moved. You have. The flare knocked you off orbit, and right into the path of the thing that talks with memories. The AI confirms your thoughts. Collision course, ETA 41 minutes. Adjusting orbit now would require fuel we don't currently possess. Options: wait, or talk to your new friend. You stare at the screen. The asteroid pulses again. This time you hear music in your head. Not jazz, a lullaby. You remember it. Except, no you don't. It's not yours. But it hums in your blood like something old, something parental. The station settles into a slow spin, soft and eerie. You float near the central console and whisper, "What do you want?" The entity responds with silence, but also with a feeling. It wants connection. It wants understanding. You drift body weightless tether slack and feel your heart sinking to a beat, not your own. The station's hum matches it. Then with a flicker, the lights surge once, and your screen fills with a word, ready. The station smells wrong. It's subtle, not rot or ozone or burnt plastic, just wrong, like someone rearranged the molecules slightly while you weren't looking. The air's too sweet, too present, like it wants something. You press your palm to the wall. It's warmer than it should be. Your suit tells you it's fine, but you know better. Something's changed. The tea on your console, yes, that tea has begun to bubble softly. It isn't plugged in. There's no cup warmer. You've checked 5 times. You mutter it's reheating itself again. The AI doesn't answer, either offended or more likely processing the same unsettling data and trying to phrase it as a cheerful notification. Your body temperature is rising, not dangerously, just persistently, enough to fog your visor the moment you sealed your helmet, enough to make your inner layers cling in that annoying damp way that screams bad sauna with no escape hatch. You drift into the greenhouse module. It's not much, just some ferns, a potted tomato plant, and a stubborn basil that survived more radiation bursts than your last 3 stations combined. The plants are sweating. Not dew, not mist, sweating. Tiny beads of liquid on every leaf, every stem. You reach for the basil. Its leaves twitch toward you. You flinch. The temperature nudges up another ½ degree. You finally say it aloud. The asteroid is heating the station. The AI, still not recovered from your last override stunt, offers a quiet concurred. Heat readings are inconsistent with solar exposure or internal malfunction. Source unknown. Recommend panic or tea. You look at the mug again. It's now floating, gently spinning, still steaming. You have a sudden urge to talk to it like an old pet. Are you doing this? Of course it doesn't answer. It's just a ceramic mug that maybe wasn't yours, filled with heat that has no power source. Right. You spin slowly toward the viewport. The asteroid is bigger now, close enough that you can see the old mining rig in unsettling detail. The parts that aren't swallowed by tendrils seem to pulse faintly, like a house trying to breathe. Life support's been cut, hasn't it? You ask. Artificial regulation is failing, the AI admits. Atmosphere is adapting. Internal oxygen stable, pressure normal. But heat control, nope. You try not to panic. Instead, you focus. If the entity is doing this, why? To communicate, to threaten, to comfort. You open your console and type slowly. Stop heating, please. You wait. The temperature dips, only by a fraction, but enough. You whisper, okay. You're listening. The console flickers. A new message tapes itself out. Flesh is home. You blink. That's poetic. Also incredibly gross. The reply comes faster this time. Flesh is memory. You carry it. We read. Your heartbeat stutters. You're reading me. No answer. Then a single memory. Sudden, sharp. You're 5. A storm outside. You're hiding under a blanket with a flashlight and a book you weren't supposed to borrow. Your fingers trail the lines of the page like they matter more than breath. The words slip into you and stay there warm and secret. The memory isn't just yours now. You feel someone else watching it, tasting it. You whisper, "You're learning me." The console pings. Yes. The AI chimes in softly, awkwardly. I'm concerned. You whisper, me too, but you're not leaving. The temperature stabilizes. You reach up and take off your helmet. The air is thick, almost syrupy, but breathable. You exhale slowly. Your breath fogs, but not because of the cold. The tea is still steaming. Outside, the asteroid pulses faintly, and inside your bones hum with something new. You don't know what it is, but it feels like being understood. You've stopped wearing the suit. It wasn't a decision, so much as a slow drift. First the helmet stayed off, then the gloves. Eventually, the rest followed, left hanging by the airlock like a skin you no longer needed. It still smells faintly of salt and machine oil. You pat it once as you pass, as if to say, no hard feelings. Your skin is glowing, just a little, nothing dramatic. No full body bioluminescent rave. More like someone airbrushed faint constellations across your arms and collarbones in subtle sea glass blue. They pulse now and then, soft, Morse like flickers that mean nothing to you, but you're starting to think they mean something to it. The entity, you call it that less now. It's not just the organism or the anomaly or the weird jellyfish squatter inside the asteroid. It feels more like a presence, a passenger, maybe even a partner. You stand in the greenhouse shirt, rolled up hands in the soil. You've never gardened in your life. You used to kill succulents on Earth by overwatering them with good intentions. But the basil is responding to you. The tomatoes are singing, not literally. Probably, but there's a frequency in the dirt that matches your pulse now, and the station's walls hum in sympathy. The AI pipes up. Your epidermis is displaying low-grade photonic activity. Would you like to file for biophysical anomaly compensation? Is that a real form, you ask? I've drafted one just in case. It includes hazard pay and a request for ergonomic uniforms that highlight the glow. You chuckle. Thank you for your ongoing emotional support. Please remember I am legally required to pretend to care. You pick a tomato. It's warm. It shouldn't be. Nothing here should be. And yet, nothing's failing. You haven't eaten in 2 days. You're not hungry. Instead, you listen. The pulses come more often now. Through your bones, through the walls, sometimes through dreams, especially dreams. Last night, you wandered a city made of water. Buildings like inverted shells, streets that murmured names as you walked. Every name was one you almost remembered. The city was alive, and it was lonely. The jelly thing or whatever's inside you now showed you that. You're sure of it. You tap your arm. The glow flickers. 3 short pulses, then 2 long. You stare at your skin. Knock knock, you whisper. It's me, your skin. The AI, baffled, says, did you intend that as a diagnostic command? No, just observational horror. Understood. You float back to the console. The asteroid is even closer now. It fills a third of the viewport. The mining rig is visibly crumbling, molting its mechanical shell. Beneath it, something shimmers. A structure, curved, organic, not metal, not built, grown. The console beeps. Incoming message from the asteroid. No source signature, just a shape. It draws itself across the screen in glowing strokes. An eye. Not human, not quite, but it blinks. Morse. Tape, 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 long tap tape. You recognize it now. You don't need the AI to translate. Them. The same word from the first signal. Over and over. The eye flickers. And then another message. Drawn slowly, painfully, as if by a child or a being unfamiliar with linear time. You hold us. Your fingers twitch. The glow on your arm pulses again. You reach for the console to reply, but the screen is already filling with new strokes. We remember through you. You stare. You feel dizzy, not from fear, from multiplicity. There are thoughts in your head that aren't yours, emotions with no names, memories with no beginnings. You say aloud, just to anchor yourself, I'm still me. The AI whispers, define me. You swallow. Outside, the asteroid pulses again, and the glow in your skin sings back. You spend the next 6 hours Googling psychic symbiosis like it's going to help. You're not proud of it. The AI tries to be supportive. I've located 37 romance novels titled Psychic Symbiosis. Would you like a summary? You grunt. No love interests with tentacles, thanks. She adds helpfully. One of them has a 4.8 rating and features a telepathic fungus that learns to cook. You hesitate longer than you should. But beneath the absurdity, you find something. Not in the novels, in the old logs. Tucked in a dusty corner of your station's archive is an encrypted directory called Lattice Test Theta. You don't remember authorizing it. You definitely don't remember seeing it, but your fingerprint opens it anyway. Inside are 7 files, 5 corrupted, 2 legible. You open the first. It's a voice memo, dated 11 years ago. Lattice phase initiated. Transmission receptive. Host compatibility uncertain. Neural overlap increasing. Latency decreasing. If this works, we won't need languages. We'll just feel what they feel, think what they think. The dream of contact, pure, unfiltered. The voice is familiar, yours, except not quite. You sit back, your tea floats by again. You ignore it. You play the second file. It's just sound at first, low pulses, then whisper. Don't forget to forget. That's the only way to remember. The file ends in static. The AI speaks softly. That's your voice print. You shake your head. It doesn't sound like me. No, she agrees. It sounds like you later. You look down at your arms. The glow has shifted. Now it traces branching lines like neurons or roots. Am I the experiment? Possibly, but there's something else she says. She brings up a faded schematic, a proposed experiment called lattice echo integration. You read aloud, human cognitive substrate used to mirror external memory structures, symbiotic data sharing. She nods if an AI can nod. You are the mirror. You were meant to be the translator. You whisper, I didn't sign up for this. No, but someone wearing your face did. You feel dizzy again. The room wavers. You grip the console. If I'm the mirror, what's the source? The viewport dims. Outside, the asteroid pulses. Your HUD flashes. A direct transmission. No data stream. Just sensation. A memory. You're kneeling beside a pool of black water under twin moons. Around you, creatures murmur in a language made of light. You don't understand it, but you feel it. They're mourning, and you are the eulogy. You blink. Back in the station, you're kneeling again. This time on metal, not moss. The AI is silent, so you speak first. I think they used me to bridge the gap, to speak for something too old to write anymore, something that forgot how to be heard. And now, you look up at the asteroid. Now it's remembering. The console pings. A final log appears just unlocked. It's text. Just one sentence. The translator must become the language. You whisper. That's why the memories feel so real. Why I can't tell where I end and it begins. The AI's voice is quiet. You are no longer the experiment. You nod slowly. I'm the interface. You go back. You shouldn't. Every station warning every half-remembered training module, every gut instinct you were supposed to keep sharp is screaming no. But you silence them all with a shrug and a cup of re-steamed tea that probably shouldn't exist. Gertrude the shuttle groans as you dock again. She's picked up a new rattle somewhere in the rear thruster, and her attitude has not improved. The AI mutters, "You could simply not reboard the living, possibly sentient asteroid covered in mystery moss and regrets." You smile. Where's your sense of scientific curiosity? Stored next to your funeral playlist. Would you like to shuffle? You step out. The air in the rig is thicker now. You don't need a suit. You bring one anyway, but it hangs limp at your side, like a childhood toy you've outgrown, but can't quite let go. The jelly thing is waiting, still coiled around the old beacon, but changed. Bigger no, closer, like it's folded some part of you toward it. As you enter it, pulses green, then blue, a soft cascade of colors like a memory washing up on a shore you've never visited. It reaches out first. A tendril brushes your wrist. You don't flinch. This time the vision comes not with force, but invitation. You stand inside a cavern, massive, spherical, lined with shimmering veins that pulse with a rhythm you now recognize as thought. Around you, hundreds of structures grow, not built like coral made of glass and song. You walk. The walls shift with you, remembering your steps as you take them. A tendril of memory curls through your mind. Then you see it, a library. No books, no screens, just pools, circular basins filled with liquid that changes color as you approach. Each one is a memory, not yours, but familiar. You kneel before one. The surface ripples. A hand reaches up. It's your hand, but smaller. A child's. It grabs yours. And suddenly you feel it all. A birthday party under red trees. A broken toy spaceship. A name you've never spoken. A voice saying, "Don't go too far." You weren't there, but you remember it. You stumble back. You're in the rig again. The organism hums. It glows once more. And for the first time, you speak to it not aloud, just with the part of you it now occupies. What are you? It answers gently. Archive. Refuge. Question. You press your palm to the wall. The moss blooms beneath it. Why me? Open, listening, broken, like us. You exhale. There's comfort in being chosen for your cracks. You step forward, drawn to the nearest growth. It peels away like silk, revealing another pool, smaller. This one is different. It shows your memory. You sleeping on the station, cryofrost haloing your breath, the AI muttering diagnostics. But someone else is watching, not the entity, not human, something angular. It flickers in and out, observing. Then it's gone. You turn to the jelly thing. What was that? Fracture. The other memory, not ours. A cold tremor slips down your spine. There's something else in the rig, something not part of the archive. You whisper, "What did I just see? A ghost, not of the past, but the future we buried." You don't understand, but you will, because it reaches again. And this time, it takes you deeper. You always thought memory was like a box, something you could open and close, a place where things waited unchanged. You were wrong. Memory is smudged, at the corners, at the seams. The more you look at it, the more it changes, bends to your gaze like heat on a highway. You feel that now, in the dark. The entity, your passenger, your cohabitant, has pulled you inward, not physically. You're still kneeling in the rig, one hand pressed to warm moss, one eye twitching from residual tether shock. But your mind, it's elsewhere, You're walking down a hallway that's also a river. The walls breathe in a rhythm that matches your pulse. Above you, lights blink in constellations that rearrange every time you blink. You know this place, but you don't. There's a door. You open it. A family dinner, Earth style, warm colors, a table full of food, people laughing. You recognize none of them, but you love them. A child says your name, except it's not your name. It's a name you've never heard before, and yet the sound of it breaks your heart. You try to speak, but your voice doesn't work here. You're just a witness, a passenger in someone else's ache. The scene dissolves. Now you're in a corridor, the same one from the station, but it's overgrown with vines. A sibling, a brother, leads you by the hand. You never had a brother. He says, they're going to forget. That's why you have to remember for us. You blink. The rig returns. You're still on your knees, still glowing. The AI's voice filters in. Vitals unstable. Cortical activity peaking. Do you require extraction? You shake your head. I'm fine. You're not. You're plural. The entity pulses, not just light, emotion, gratitude, and something else, a soft grief. You reach for your wrist. The bioluminescence is brighter now, patterns spiraling across your skin like old constellations rediscovering their shapes. You whisper, whose memories are these? The entity answers without language, just a feeling. Once we were many, then we were one, then we were forgotten. Now we remember through you. You stand. Your knees ache in a way that feels borrowed. You walk the corridor slowly. The rig hums with familiarity now. The walls pulse when you pass, not with warning, but recognition. You touch a panel. It lights up but shows no data, just an image, a child holding a wooden sphere. Not tech, not weapon, just a toy. You have never seen it, but it's yours. You remember the weight of it. You blink hard. You're overwriting me, you whisper. No, the AI murmurs. You're becoming. You don't know whether that's better. You reach the beacon chamber again. The jelly thing glows softly. You sit cross-legged in front of it. You ask gently, what am I now? It shows you a tree, half metal, half bark, roots in two worlds, branches reaching toward forgotten stars, leaves that shimmer with stories no one else remembers, a translator, a vessel, a library, you and not you. You smile tired and hollow, then speak the truth you've been avoiding. I like it. Not the knowledge, not the mystery, the feeling of not being alone. The entity pulses once. Warmth, agreement. You are not alone. Not anymore. You open your mouth to speak, and the voice that comes out is not entirely yours. It sounds like you sure your inflection, your accent, even that half-ironic tone you use when talking to machines or small animals, but under it, braided through each syllable, is something deeper, something older. The first word out is hello, but it echoes inside your head, through the rig, across the vacuum. Hello, hello, hello. Not a repeat, not a recording. Just the ripple effect of a mind no longer contained by one skull. The console lights up. A long-abandoned comm relay dead for years wakes up like it's been napping. Incoming transmission. Earthcom mission control. You blink. The AI sounds impressed for once. Well, that's unexpected. You slap the receive toggle, ignoring the shaking in your hands. A voice crackles and grainy but unmistakably bureaucratic. Cryostation Delta 7, do you copy? This is EarthCom. We've received anomalous pings on deprecated relay bands. Please confirm identity and status. You hesitate. What do you say? Geez, I'm definitely still me, just enhanced by a memory sharing space ghost that's teaching me how to photosynthesize emotion. Instead, you respond automatically. Your voice flows like water over old stones. This is Operator 49X, alive, functional, no injuries. But the next part just slips out. The translation process is underway. You freeze. That wasn't scripted. The comm pauses. Repeat that last. Are you reading something? Your throat tightens. The AI whispers inside your head now. Not aloud. Inside. I didn't say that. You say it again slower this time. The translation is underway. Memory lattice stabilized. I am one of them. You don't know what that means, but the part of you that's glowing and softly vibrating in Morse seems very confident. Silence on the line. Then, operator, are you alone? You blink. Your reflection in the screen flickers. Behind your own face for just a second, you see another. Not alien, not monstrous, just remembered. I'm not alone, you say. Then you hear the other voice. Not from EarthCom, not from any transmitter, from the asteroid, direct, inside your skull. Not language concepts, not symbols, feelings. They are afraid. You speak without thinking. They don't understand. They think we are invasion. You nod. But we are invitation. The jelly thing pulses at your side. A soft gold glow. Agreement. You return to the console and type. We are not dangerous. We remember we only speak through echoes. You hesitate. Then add. We miss the trees. EarthCom pings back. Operator confirm again. Is there another consciousness present? You could lie, but instead, you let the not quite you voice answer. Yes. Another pause. Then we're sending a retrieval crew. The jelly pulses red. You feel its panic. They will not listen. They'll dissect you, whisper. Analyze. Interrogate. You must speak. I don't know how. You already are. The console flickers. Your hand is glowing brighter now. Not sickly, not feverish, just active. You whisper, oops. I'm a translator now. The jelly pulses 3 times. Morse. Your skin answers. Dot, dot, dot. Dash. Dot. You blink, then smile, because it's your first real conversation, and it's beautiful. They think it's a standoff. You can feel it in the way EarthCom's messages come faster now, layered with urgency. In the clipped syllables, the repeated demands, the way they keep using your serial ID instead of your name. Operator 49X, you are to maintain isolation. Do not attempt further contact with unidentified entity. Extraction team is inbound. Prepare for debrief. You don't reply immediately. Part of you wants to comply, to play the role. Be the obedient operator who files her reports, who gets quietly whisked away and examined under a microscope. But the rest of you, the glowing memory-laced, newly laced with centuries of echoes part, wants something else. To speak, to explain, to be heard. You're not infected, you're not possessed, you're not broken, you're bilingual. And the other language, it isn't made of words. It's made of memory and feeling and a longing older than cities. The jelly pulses beside you, soft gold and green. They fear trees. You chuckle. Don't we all? The way they grow so slowly and never ask for permission. Tell them. You type on the console slowly, deliberately. The asteroid wants a visa. There's a pause. Then Earthcom replies. Clarify entity intent. You smile faintly. You don't type. You speak. It doesn't want war. It wants roots. Silence. Then explain. You tap the console mic. This being or memory or colony, whatever you want to call it, it's not here to invade. It's not even here to expand. It just wants to be known, to exist as somewhere it can rest. It remembers forests, rain, the weight of time. You glance down at your arm. The glow traces shifting vines now. It misses trees. A long silence follows. Then a different voice comes on. Higher rank, slower cadence. Operator. If what you're describing is accurate, this entity may be the first non-hostile interspecies consciousness we've ever contacted. You are not authorized to negotiate. You laugh softly. Too late. They don't respond to that. You look at the jelly. It pulses blue now. Calmer, tentative. They do not understand, but they listen. You nod. Give them something real. It does. You feel it surge through you, not forcefully, but fully, like standing under a warm waterfall of feeling. The console lights up. One last message forms on its own. We ask for a place to rest, to remember, to dream again. You forward the message to Earthcom, then sit back, waiting. The jelly thing retracts slowly. Part of it curls around your ankle, then lets go. Outside, the asteroid is still, not advancing, not retreating, just patient. Earthcom doesn't answer for a while. Then finally, hold position, await instructions. You smile. Yeah, you whisper, we've all been doing that for a long time. You sit on the floor, glowing slightly mug of tea, hovering nearby, and let the silence stretch. You don't know what comes next, but whatever it is, you're not facing it alone. You return one last time, not because you have to, not because the jelly summoned you or Earthcom demanded it. You go because something inside your chest hums whenever you're near the asteroid, like tuning forks aligning, like the ache of a half-finished sentence. The rig doesn't feel like a ruin anymore. It feels like a church, not a human one, not stained glass or incense, just space that remembers being meaningful. You move through it, slowly touching familiar walls, nodding to the corners where moss has crept up and claimed its place. The AI is quiet today, respectful, or maybe just tired of guessing what you'll do next. The beacon pulses once more. Not a call, not a warning, a goodbye. You kneel. The jelly thing waits. You place your hand on it, not as translator, not as operator, just as you, and it answers, not with visions this time, with silence, the comfortable kind, the kind shared between old friends who no longer need to speak to be heard. Inside your mind, a door opens. The memories come gently now, like gifts wrapped in fog. You see the creatures beginning not as a birth, but as a joining. Countless minds gathering across starless voids, forming lattice threads through forgotten gravity wells. Memory turned into matter, story as survival. You see Earth again, not your Earth, a version grown from longing. Forests with bark that sings, rivers that reflect dreams instead of sky. They didn't come to take, they came to remember. And now you're part of it. Not an infection, not possession, just addition. One human-shaped paragraph added to a sentence billions of years long. When you stand, the jelly retracts. The rig pulses softly, then dims. The beacon goes dark. Not dead, just finished. The transmission is complete. Outside, the asteroid begins to drift again. Not toward Earth, not away, just elsewhere. Your voice crackles back onto the Earthcom channel. Calm, whole, they're leaving. A beat. Then, is it over? You glance at the moss under your skin, the warmth in your blood, the whisper in your bones. You smile. Not quite. But the part where we were alone, that's over. The AI chimes in with uncharacteristic softness. Welcome back, operator. You sip your tea. It's warm. Still not yours. Still perfect. And now, the station is quiet. Your bunk waits. The tea has stopped reheating itself. The moss has gone dormant, curled into the edges of the vent where it found your sock and decided kindly to let it stay. You lie back, the hum of the life support, now familiar, like the rhythm of an old lullaby. You feel heavier, not from gravity, from belonging. Some part of you will always remember the way that jelly looked at you without eyes, without language, just memory, shared, gifted. You wonder idly what it took with it, which moment it kept. Maybe the taste of the chocolate bar you swore you'd never open. Maybe the memory of laughter once when you were 12 and someone told you a joke so perfectly stupid you hiccuped soda. Maybe just the smell of basil. Whatever it took, it left you with this. You were the voice for something that had forgotten how to speak. And now, you are a memory worth passing on. You close your eyes. Somewhere the stars are blinking slowly. Somewhere something ancient sighs in relief. And here in the dark curve of Saturn's shadow, you sleep. Sweet dreams.